Fresh off a week vacation, the IORA Cup Series is back and ready to continue the Season 7 playoffs. Now, we've been to the circuit quite a few times, and it's for good reason. Dare I say, there is no better American road circuit than the one we're at today in the Empire State for stock car action. That's right, from Schuyler County, New York, the IORA Cup Series is underway with its 12th race of the 2025 Season 7 campaign, and it will be the Watkins Glen International circuit playing host, the 2.45-mile configuration for a 40-lap miniature Grand Prix. I'll be your host for tonight's coverage. I'm David Kreutz, commentating and producing. It is a thrill to return to the home track for FTN Broadcasting, and of course, returning to one of the best sites for racing from beginning to end. From every iteration of this track that we've seen, Watkins Glen has delivered. It's been on the Cup Series calendar now ever since Season 4 on a regular basis. Additionally, the IORA Indycar and Formula 1 series have taken their chances, and the Pro 4 series when it was run. As a very, very extensive league, series-wise, length-wise now, with years, nearly a half-decade under its belt, IORA has experimented with Watkins Glen for a while now, but it really has come into its own as of late. The talent field that we have, talented field, shall we say, has only gotten better. The depth of that talent, the depth of that capability has only improved. And it looks like tonight we've got a ringer challenging the boys at the front of the field. Talon Smith has made himself out to be one of the favorites for the day. And he has 6 minutes and 25 seconds on the clock to put another qualifying time down. But for the time being, he is up in front over Aiden Walker and Daniel Mosteller, who are separated right now in the championship race by only 3 points. Demos has the advantage with 1,060. Aiden Walker with 1,057 after our previous events. Walker, the 93, regular season champion, has had a standout season so far as Daniel Mosteller grabs the pole. The 93 team now, with multiple victories under its belt, looks to prove that at long last he is the overall best driver in this field of very well put together drivers, of course, but also of defending champions still contending. Daniel Mosteller, the 3-time and defending title winner, is back on top of the championship pylon. And of course, if he wins this season, it would be his second run of back-to-back championships. He won the title in both seasons 1 and 2, and of course won season 6 last year. So he's on the verge of making some more history if he gets it done tonight. That, of course, is dependent on Talon Smith. Smith might be the ringer that puts a thorn in the side of both the 87 and 93 respectively. Smith goes P2 for the time being. James Thurston getting up into 4th. Thurston, while he might not be one of the big 2 championship contenders, is right outside of that ladder. He's in 5th place as it stands. He's going to be a total now of 20 points back on Daniel Mosteller, 17 back on Aiden Walker, while a little bit of a longer deficit compared to some guys like Chase Schaefer or Sean Rowe ahead of him. Thurston is not at all down and out in this championship race. If he gets himself a good run, and as you see, he grabs the pole position, he could really put himself right back in it and could be firmly top 3 coming out of the end of night. There's Daniel Salo, a triple-digit threat in a 913 car, and he's going to be making his first road course run in his IORA Cup Series career. Good to see some drivers making their debuts. And we also have some returning drivers. Jason Didana in the number 69 for one. Additionally, you'll see Damian Vega making it on. Vega, not a driver we've heard of for several years now in IORA competition. The SimSeats number 37 is back in business and currently runs 12th in the championship lineup. Of course, he is ineligible for the title. He's here to chase a checkered flag tonight. Vega having an opening track into the bus stop, of course. Nobody around them. An open qualifying session as we do for all of our road courses. James Thurston and Daniel Mosteller top two on the board here. And Thurston slowing it down on his outlap once again. Daniel Mosteller making it out of pit road. And Talon Smith now coming through the eighth and final corner of this configuration and going under the Go Bowling Bridge. We now have three drivers with lap times under a minute and 12 seconds. And it looks like that's going to be another strong one from Talon Smith. Matter of fact, that's a tenth of a second up on the next driver in Thurston. Talon Smith, 1:12.735, the fastest by a long shot. And firmly the pole time as it stands. James Thurston has not yet been able to hold a candle. You can see him pushing rather hard through the S's on that upward rise. Daniel Mosteller now coming through to the end of his outlap here, and he'll get to business for one final attempt, tentatively speaking, to put up a better qualifying lap here. Mosteller is due up next. James Thurston is going to be on the way. As Thurston is going to come across the line, we'll figure out what exactly he has in store for the field. Talon Smith throwing up a heater of a lap. And it's going to take a lot from either Thurston, Mosteller, or even someone else to do it. James comes across the stripe this time by. His best lap, a 1:12.863 to this point. Time to beat is 13 100ths quicker. The goal time would be 14 100ths quicker. At the line, not going to be enough. That's 1:13.001. Thurston's going to have to head down to pit road or continue his run. Talon Smith, by the way, just upped the ante on everyone as he dropped another 15 1,000ths of a second. That is a 1:12.72. Unbelievable. Smith only getting quicker while having the lead in qualifying. Daniel Mosteller making his way through. The 87 now, probably the final driver that has a real shot to knock Smith off the board here. And as he comes by, won't be enough. That time was invalidated. Daniel Mosteller going to end his qualifying run. And it looks like he won't have anything left in the tank. Aiden Walker in the 93 in the grass there. That's not going to count either. So it looks like he's going to be sitting fourth unless someone else gets up to him. Lars Kinnewith is on pit road. Daniel Salo, who's qualified strong so far, is going for his final attempt. He will be allowed to cross the checkered flag. There will be a grace minute added on to this session. Since it's the road course anyway, it's kind of hard to get to that checkered flag right on time. Daniel Salo coming through out of 8. Sixth place would be his career best qualifying position. Same goes for the 28 driver in Ryan Kwan. At the line, 1:13.114 puts Daniel Salo up to 5th. He'll actually best his previous time and up himself to row 3. On the left side anyhow. He'll have that advantage going into the first corner. Ryan Kwan at the line. No improvement. River Page getting his final shot as he makes it past the Jackie Stewart grandstands and into 7. This Toyota Supra, one of the championship eligible drivers, although he had a detrimental wreck last week and it puts him at the bottom of the pylon now. He finds himself 41 points off of Demos and would need a perfect race tonight to bring him up. He'll pass Daniel Salo once again, and it'll be River Page for 5th. Hudson Sangster off the circuit, Kaloff on pit road, Braxton Whitaker, more of the same. At the line, Aiden Walker, 1:13.073, no improvement. He will stay in 4th. Qualifying, in essence, has concluded. Devins Baker, the only driver still going, but as he goes up the S's, there will not be enough time for him to make it all array around the circuit. It looks like he'll hardly get by the bus stop, if anything. Baker, 16th place. And as Devins rolls slowly but surely through the exit of this bus stop, qualifying is over. Job is completed, and the number 87 of Daniel Mosteller by 1,000th of a second puts the time down, beating Talon Smith. 112.719, and it looks like that last lap for Mosteller was validated. Checkered flag falls. It's going to be Mosteller getting ahead of the ringer and Smith as the field lines up. Everyone comes together behind the iRacing official pace car. 40 laps of racing tonight. The expectation is that we will not see a caution flag. If we do not see a caution flag, this will be a one long run race in terms of 40 consecutive laps, and we do have a fuel limit, which means pit roads is still mandatory. So we're going to see drivers come in perhaps at lap 25. They could go in anywhere from lap 20 to lap 30 and remain on optimal cycle. That's the expectation for the field, as it will be Smith and Daniel Mosteller leading them through. Usually that left side is where the pole sitter would be, but since it's the right-hand corner to start Watkins Glen off, it'll instead be Daniel Mosteller on the inside of row number 1 with the pole position. He'll have the inside facing right, Talon Smith outside on the left. Both drivers with remarkable times, only separate by 1/1000th of a second. Then from there, you'll have James Thurston, who runs in third. That's the number 96. And Aiden Walker, who finds himself P4. Walker, he is just behind Mosteller for the championship lead and is directly toe-to-toe with last season's title winner. River Page is going to find himself 5th. And Daniel Salo with a career best finish. That is 6th place, of course, in qualifying. Let's see if he can get himself a career best race finish today and back that up. 7th place on the ladder is going to be immediately subsequent, and that will be the driver of the number 11, Lars Kenowith. Ryan Kwan on debut qualifies 8th. Hudson Sangster in the 42 goes P9, and Henry Kaloff concludes the top 10, with Dominic Barbagallo and Aladam Contreras being the last men in the top dozen. 13th place on the order. Just after them is Braxton Whitaker. Damian Vega goes 14th place. 15th is Lucas Lewis, also on debut, and Devins Baker 16th. Michael Dykes in the number 17 car is the last driver to take a time. The New York native goes 17th place. Chase Schaefer has not yet put a time down, and he will start at the back of the field. Schaefer, coming into this race, is P3 in the championship standings, 13 points back. Then from there, you'll have 19th place, John Dunnigan on debut. Carlos Truther then going to be P20. 21st place is going to be, just after the fact, you'll have Corey Lyles, Beaver Serrano, Jason Dodonna, and Richard Bunkley for P25. Last man on the field, just after Bunkley, is Andres Varas in the number 84 with Wayne Kennedy. Looks like Kennedy starting at the back of the field, and of course, that's where he got that Talladega victory, but the Watkins Glen International circuit is oh so different. Your qualifying lineup is set. 26 drivers. The pole man is Daniel Mosteller, the 3-time champion and the all-time winningest. But in his history at Watkins Glen, he has been bested quite frequently. Notably, when he went after Sean Conklin. He actually got the better of Conklin that day. But on pace, I'll tell you what, the number 54 had his number. Brian Murphy, ZC in the chat room. Thank you both for stopping by. Thurston getting a lot more airtime, not only, of course, with NASCAR Night in America or the other leagues he does in FTN Broadcasting, but as we don't see him on the racetrack right now, he's also getting some time in other sim racing leagues, and we're going to keep a good note on that and talk more about what's going on for the Thurston crew as he gets on the racetrack. Tentatively, he is not running with this field up in front, and that might be by virtue of a connection problem. Thurston qualified in 3rd in the number 96, and it looks like that spot has been relinquished based on what we're seeing. That will move Lars Kenowith up and Aiden Walker. So watch out for Thurston tonight. If he gets back on the circuit, he's going to need to make up some time quick. But the three-time champ brings him back to green in our third run at Watkins Glen. Welcome back to the Empire State. Through the 90 they go. Demos has the clear lead. They're jockeying from second on back. Across the line for lap number 2, it'll be Daniel Mosteller who leads the way. James Thurston reconnecting after a critical network failure, and it appears he will be at least 2 laps down at the time he returns. 20 drivers take the green flag, and it looks like multiple drivers do not start. That's going to help out Thurston in getting some positions squared away, but again, he falls down 17th places by virtue of a connection problem, and that could be detrimental to his championship cause. Daniel Salo, 6th up to 6th right now. You'll see Ryan Kwan running a little bit further behind. Double file is going to be sparse, but apparent in the back of the field as Braxton Whitaker looks to make a daring move on the inside. Can't stick it. Kwan instead gets the advantage. 1, 2, 3, 4, shuffling out of the bus stop. And luckily, not a one of them was mowing the lawn. They all got out of it on the pavement. Henry Kaloff round the outside of the carousel there. We're using that condensed layout, which is known well in the NASCAR Cup Series as we've used it ever since 1986. Now, the Watkins Glen International circuit is much longer than what you're seeing today. We have the original Formula One configuration, which of course no longer used, but it does see time with IMSA and Endurance Racing, the 6 hours of Watkins Glen. Tonight, 2.45 miles, 8 turns, and that bus stop, of course, the notable feature before the track abbreviates and goes past what is affectionately known as the boot. We got one around Aladam Contreras, and he went into turn 1 a little bit too hot. And he's going to see problems. Contreras to the inside. That was alone. Luckily, nobody else was caught up with him. And he continues on. Right now, he is running just outside of the top 15. 18th as it stands, battling with Michael Deitch. All the while, leader Daniel Mosteller looks confident as he opens up this race. As its leader, of course, pole sitter helping out a lot and having that clean air and track position. But Talon Smith looks to be just about as fast, if not faster. 10th of a second quicker last time by. The 41 car has the advantage in pace, and it looks like a more representative of practice and qualifying numbers, respectively. And of course, Smith just bested by 1,000th of a second. Daniel Mosteller hit his qualifying series, of course, of events very well, hit his marks, but also he might have hit his ceiling, is what we're thinking about here. Was that the absolute best lap he could have gotten? And how is he going to match that for 40 laps of racing? And so far, he's up and ahead, caution's out. Got an issue. The field comes to a standstill here. The yellow flag flies for the first time today. And as you can see, a little bit of spacing out further back might also help out James Thurston in putting himself together. Yellow is out. You would see here Aladam Contreras involved again. So the 92 from bad to worse. Take a look at this. I'm going to bring you back and watch this lap with the 92 car. As Contreras certainly having some problems, and it looks like the battle continues. Michael Zeich had the upper hand coming through the carousel. First yellow flag of the day, 4 laps in out of 40. We're expecting the restart at about lap 7. And you'll see here, going into 7 by the Jackie Stewart grandstands, Contreras was still behind. Coming into that final corner, however, this is when trouble ensues. Contreras on the outside tried to get there. Deitch was there to begin with, and the 92 spins around. Minor contact and a safety yellow. Looks like both drivers should be able to continue with minimal damage accrued on either motor vehicle. Contreras is now scored in 19th. Deitch is in 18th. Still putting them all back together. Daniel Mosteller, the leading driver, 87 advantageous over Talon Smith. Your championship leader has the edge so far tonight. Smith, a ringer who looks to be maybe the race favorite. He is about a second back now and was gaining before the incident happened. Highly unlikely we're going to see anyone decide to go down a pit road this time by. And as you can see right now, the 96 of James Thurston donning a new paint scheme and a new number look. That's the Murphy Esports Ford Mustang now, powered by Power Smash Infinity Speed Motorsport. Thurston having some connection problems, getting himself on the circuit to begin with. But it looks like now he's there. And getting himself to the back of the line. Caution early for Thurston. Could be his saving grace, of course, but he is still a long ways out from Daniel Mosteller and his leading company. Expecting very few drivers, if any, to look down pit road's way. And it looks like it's a resounding no. That's going to keep the green flag strategy cycle in play. Devins Baker, one of the few to go down and in right now, as is Wayne Kennedy and Dominic Barbagallo. We have 4 sets of tire, and we're only expecting 1 green flag pit stop. So by all accounts, this is going to be an inconsequential stop for anyone at the back of the field. Page decides to make it through. James Thurston now getting his lap back. As Thurston returns with the leaders here and gets back to business, iRacing official pace car showing 1 lap to green, and we will head back at it for lap number 7 of 40 on the day. Still more than half this race to go, but an opening sprint sees Mosteller advantageous. Lars Kinnewith assumes the 3rd position. He's now just ahead of Daniel Mosteller. Shoes rule going to be in effect. See right there, Talon Smith opting high. Daniel Mosteller taking it low onto the bus stop, which means that he will take the inside into turn 1. Smith has Hudson Sangster, and with him just immediately after is Daniel Salo. Mosteller has Kinnewith, Walker, and interestingly the rookie of Ryan Kwan. Another look at a rookie in front of the field in Lucas Lewis. And it looks like right now the Lewis car up inside the top 10 according to timing and scoring, running 9th in the 0-3. Best career run to this point for the Twinkie Chevrolet Camaro. Watch out for some of these new drivers, as now we have 3 first-time road course drivers or overall debutants in the top 10. Daniel Mosteller brings them to green for lap number 7 of 40. He's on the bottom, and he's got his domain. The inside is his to turn 1, and Daniel Mosteller gets the edge of a car length for Talon Smith. Up the S's goes the number 87 Chevrolet and takes the rest of the field with them. No issue to this point. Let's see how the bus stop goes. Last time around, it wasn't much of a problem either. Sean Rowe just connected. It looks like he'll be watching from afar tonight rather than getting inside the cockpit. Whitaker, a little wide. Oh, one a little bit wider. That's the number 56. Corey Lyles shoots up the track and goes all the way out of bounds. He'll take Dominic Barbagallo with him. Watch this. And the Lyles machine involved in some trouble. And taking that replay back to show you how it developed, he was loose to begin with, and that's when he got up to Dominic Barbagallo. They go up the S's, and the 56 snapped loose. The FTN Broadcasting Chevrolet, Lyles bringing back that look from Talladega. It looks like one of the FTN 5 sees trouble. Barb ends up just behind Lyles. A little bit of contact. Perhaps that's what snaps the 56 loose. Takes Dominic up. Both drivers far out of line now. Still running 19th and 20th respectively. All the while, Demos has the lead, and he guns out to a good half a second over the next driver. Rick Page on new rubbers gotten himself back inside the top 10. You'll remember he was one of the few who went down to pit road. James Thurston likewise recovering as he is now in 14th and is back on the lead lap in the Murphy Esports Mustang. Of course, not the best of starts for James Thurston by virtue of a connection failure, so the entire night is going to be about damage recovery in terms of going from the back and trying to get it up to the front. 20 drivers starting this race, and that's a few drivers he's picked up already from 26 who registered. But from there on out, the end goal has got to be at least a top 10 to maintain that championship position. Into turn one. Talon Smith that time by gained 1/10 of a second and is closing at the exact same pace as he did prior. Third place is Aiden Walker, far behind this battle up and ahead. Daniel Osteller proving his worth, although he's going to slide wide through the bus stop. Just puts himself back together. A little bit beyond the yellow and red curb, but he doesn't lose control and still keeps the pace. And with the pressure of the 41 right behind Daniel Osteller, you got to look back and realize he is keeping a very close eye on what he has to work with defensively. Of course, having it free up in front means that Mosteller doesn't have to concern himself with the track, but he definitely does have to concern himself with the drivers here, and specifically in Smith, who looks to be just about as quick, if not quicker, than Mosteller. Any mistake could be race over. Smith is right there and has not budged an inch. Matter of fact, you look further back and they go up the S's. Hudson Sangster now up to P5, the best he's run, and he is leading the Kaloff Deitch Racing crew. Hudson has 9th place Henry Kaloff, 17th and Corey Lyles, and P16 Michael Deitch as teammates tonight. So going to be 4 cars brought out, and none of which right now keeping up with Sangster. And it looks like the rookie this season, in his first ever road course run in the IORA Cup Series, is doing a great job. Sangster is just about now a half second off of Lars Kinnewith, and that would be the battle for 4th place if he gets there. Further behind, Braxton Whitaker now with James Thurston and Aladam Contreras. Thurston making gains. He'll swap to the inside on Contreras. Aladam with little he can do, but to watch, it'll be Thurston's time around. Both drivers slide. Thurston gets up top and does it, and takes the race lead. So as it stands, it's going to be James Thurston up and advantageous in the Murphy Esports Ford Mustang. Question becomes from here, what can be done now if Thurston wants to go a little bit further. Top 10 is accessible. He's not at all far behind 10th in Henry Kaloff relative to Lewis or Whitaker. He is gaining. And it looks like now, only being about a turn or two out, any position is really possible to gain. If you're looking at it from how Thurston sees it anyway, he's only about 2 seconds off the top 10 and might be able to break into the single digits with the pace he's held. Daniel Mosteller still being pressured fiercely now by Talon Smith, but he's made no gains in the number 41 right behind Demos here. The gap has remained practically identical across the line, and from previous lap to now, 13 one-thousandths of a difference advantage Demos. Through the S's, in their own world, nearly 4 seconds up on the next group. And there's no other battle inside the top 10 nearly as close. Dominic Barbagallo, Corey Lyles, injured cars, as is Michael Deitch here further behind. And then you look up to the upper mid-pack, you see this train that Thurston's gotten through. James has now gotten up to 10. So only down 7 spots from his qualifying position, but he finds himself 10 spots up from where he started this race in the last. Contreras getting by Braxton Whitaker, and it looks like it is for good now. Several car lengths up, and no battle to be found. Thurston still way back there, but Demos hits lap 13. Especially in recent seasons, these road courses have really given drivers the opportunity to find that rhythm and stick to it, which sometimes means the racing is more spaced out than anything else, and you don't often see that much excitement with it. Here's one exciting battle. It's going to be Hudson Sangster and Daniel Salo with River Page. But the leaders, they have gotten themselves into a nice rhythm, and it looks like they're going to stay consistent rather than going for anything errant at the head of the pack. Page is trying to get around for Sangster. And Daniel Salo, the rookie in Salo, now in the 913, takes 5th place. You've also got that number 28 in Ryan Kwan watching. And some first-time drivers at Watkins Glen are really flexing muscle. Page, being the veteran of all of them, finds himself right in the middle of this 4-car fight. Coming under the Go Bowling Bridge once again, Sangster with Page. The gap is about 2 car lengths. And James Thurston's going to go 10th here. And you can see the gap he's been able to put up on Lucas Lewis. Just about a lap ago, those two drivers were a half second apart. Now it's going to be closer to 3 seconds. And Alan Contreras has also been put behind significantly. Thurston might have one slight advantage in that he's been on the track for a little less time, and it means he has slightly younger rubber than the drivers around him. That is the only edge he could have possibly gotten from starting this race late and getting that lucky yellow. It means that he has slightly less wear on the tire, and he can push a little bit harder and stay in sync on strategy. Corey Lyles has retired, and it looks like he's going to finish 19th on the day. Jason Dodonna, the first to do so, with 5 laps down already. River Page continues to chase Hudson Sangster, no more, for the 42 anyhow. He's going to find himself the chaser. River's next task would be to get up to Daniel Salo and Lars Kinnewith. And Salo, it looks like slowly but surely, getting closer now to Lars as the top 2 drivers still remain stagnant. We'll keep you updated on the leading battle. But to this point, those drivers have remained virtually identical lap after lap with replicable lap times, which means that really nothing is changing. They're staying in formation here. Talon Smith is just going to ride out that Daniel Mosteller wave, and being in the back using that draft, he might be saving a little bit more fuel, which means he might be able to run a little bit longer when we head down to pit road. Keep that in mind, as we are anticipating to go to pit road within 10 laps. Third, Naden Walker. Fourth, and Lars Kennewith. Single file then on back. And it looks like right now every driver going to be single file in effect. James Thurston still going to be P10 here. Looks like he's going to be stranded out in that last position of the top 10. Gap between he and Henry Kaloff, 1.1 seconds at the line. Kaloff hasn't lost all that much. It was a 1:14.172, and it was a Henry Kaloff 1:14.873. Minus 0.7 of a second, but the gap remains pretty much the same. 10th to 9th on the day for Kaloff, so he's gained one position so far. If he gets passed by Thurston, it goes back to being a dead neutral one. Alan Smith still chasing Demos out of the carousel. Take a little bit of a look on board and see what's going on inside the cockpit for Smith. We'll see whether or not he's working the gears harder, if there's any specific tricks that's kept him so fast. Talon Smith to pit road very early, so this call is interesting. It is a one-stop strategy, but the idea for Smith is to head in now and leave the race. Well, that was one stop. Daniel Mosteller is now without a racing rival, and Aiden Walker is in second. So I guess the trick there for Smith was a disappearing act, as he backs out from second with no predictable signs of disconnecting, but very clearly intentionally bowed out. Nevertheless, Daniel Mosteller has just been bestowed upon him a major edge. Henry Kaloff has been passed now by James Thurston, but they'll both stay in the top 10. 8th and 9th as Aladam Contreras joins P10. So after nearly half the race, one of the big winning contenders drops out prematurely. 24 laps to go, and Daniel Mosteller's days become a lot easier. We'll see what he does from here, as he is still firmly 2 seconds up on Aiden Walker. 23 laps on the clock, of course. When it comes down to laps, time is ticking. And we're coming up to 22 laps remaining right up next. Daniel Mosteller has settled himself out quite well to be the outright race leader. And with time to spare, we've got a lot of great things to look at on the racing circuit. So if you're enjoying what you're seeing live on FTN Broadcasting, be sure to check out Whiplash SimCams, iRacing's best camera provider, partnering with FTN from our 2025 start of season to beyond. We don't know exactly what that'll mean just yet. The future is now, however, for iRacing cameras. And if you want to level up your game, there's no better place to go. That's right, visit their Discord server, Whiplash SimCams, to find free trial packs with no licensing cost associated. Tracks and cars come in at $5 a piece, so if you want to find yourself part of the fun, check them out today. A major shout out to Pitstop TV for welcoming us into the Whiplash SimCams family. With 22 laps to go this time by from Watkins Glen International, let's crank it up with Daniel Mosteller at the helm. 22 to go as we get live and loud from Watkins Glen. Daniel Mosteller is still your outright race leader, but as you might have noticed, it is Aiden Walker who is clawing that gap down. And if not Talon Smith, it looks like the 93 has stepped up to the challenge. Now, lap by lap, the Demos times have been consistent, and it looks like no major changes as to where he was to begin with to where he is now. He's been in the 1:14 range, a little bit quicker than where he was just prior to Talon Smith disconnecting. However, if you look at Aiden Walker, that's where the improvements have been evident, putting himself together and going for nearly multiple 1-minute 13-second lap runs consecutively. And it looks like right now the game of tenths of a second is helping out for Walker as he gets to the inside through the carousel. Daniel Mosteller blocks, but it will not be enough. Walker forces it to the inside. Aiden Walker low through 6. Can't get the clear. Daniel Mosteller instead gets the job done. The 87, I'll tell you what, he's defending like his race depends on, and that's for good reason, because for the both of them now, they'll have to head down to pit road, and Mosteller will take him in. That is big for the 87 team. Strategy depending on pit road. Whoever has leadership and domain on the way in has a much better time of getting out ahead, has a much better time of staying out ahead. Big move in for the 87 team. So as Mosteller comes through, same goes for the 93 of Walker. Daniel Salo is on the way and is now taking the race lead for the first time tonight. Watch out to see who gets out first. Thurston still on the way. Daniel Mosteller will find himself behind Walker, however. Aiden Walker quicker on the way through. And even if Mosteller held that edge, that's the pit stop he needed. Look at the gap that the Walker cars put on Demos. Shades perhaps of Matthew Thunhorst and the eventual winner in Ethan Lane on Monday night last week, in which Thunhorst led 31 consecutive laps, only to lose because he wasn't able to get the lead back from Lane, who had the perfect pit stop. What a change, what a switch up, shall we say. It's Aiden Walker's race now. Just got to see when Daniel Salo comes in. Daniel remains out in the head. Thurston is now second. Kaloff is third. Those two drivers you're looking at here, second and third respectively, have not conceded. And Demos heads to the inside. Lucas Lewis to pit road. Now you're starting to see that real divergence strategy-wise. Anyone can practically go in whenever they want. There's no jeopardy as to a magic number tonight right now. Anyone can go in and they'll be fine to get to the end. So the majority of your field has gone through. Thurston can run a little bit longer thanks to the fact he missed the start of this race. Thurston is expected to come in within the next 3 laps. To lap number 25, what's the call for the 96 team? Out of 4, still holding the advantage. Daniel Salo likes to keep that lead himself, and it looks like with 16 remaining, he'll hold 4. Aiden Walker, the number 93, has a big advantage over Daniel Mosteller. And even though the distance is only 0.8 of a second, I mean, Walker, he put on a statement pit stop cycle. That sounds a little bit anticlimactic when you think a staple pit stop cycle, but I think it's been, relative to his entire season anyway, the staple is his strategy expertise has been through the roof compared to previous seasons. He has made the right calls, and that Watkins Glen pit stop, of course, the one we just saw, the one that just happened, that is indicative of a driver who can win even when the cards are stacked against them. And clearly, Walker made the right moves to get the race lead. He has about 0.8. That is not an easy gap to hang on with for the 93 car, but he's playing defense. He's not playing hard. Or shall we say, he won't have to play as hard to chase. He'll just have to keep the driver that you're looking at behind him at bay. Daniel Mosteller is still right on the rear view, but he's behind. 15 laps to go. He's dealing with dirty air, and that's something that the number 87 team has not had to worry about all night long. Again, from green to entering pit road, Daniel Mosteller had not been outside of the race lead at all. Now, for the first time, he is behind, and he has to adapt. That's the type of difference which may seem inconsequential, since it's only one spot. It looks like, of course, still right there. Slowly but surely, the 87 team has to think outside the box here. You can't expect to outright push against Walker, who already has that track position. It's not like an oval in that you can find that room and really force it in. These road courses are delicate. The cars are set up to take on multiple types of corners at different speeds. And you can't really account for the predictability of an oval, even at a track like Watkins Glen, which these drivers do know well. Henry Kaloff just went down and in. That is the 63 car at the end of his 27th lap, deciding to head down for his final pit stop on the day. Kaloff should cycle out inside the top 10, the exact whereabouts to be determined. And it looks like he's going to be 9th place to James Thurston and just ahead of Aladon Contreras. 14 to go, Demo stays second. Coming right through the bus stop and a little bit of a more aggressive push out of the 87. Now, that's something you can do here at Watkins Glen. Those curbs are not forgiving track limits-wise. Can accrue some penalties if you go over them, but they will not damage your car. So, especially out of the bus stop, if you are comfortable with pushing harder, you absolutely can on that exit, and I think that's what Daniel Mosteller did to gain some more time. Last time through, he was quicker, and remember, he qualified ahead of Walker and was able to lead him for more than 20 laps for a reason. Lap number 28 now. Devins Baker gets out of both leaders' way. One foul swoop. The 14 lies behind, and Demo still chases after the Walker car. "13 laps to go. A baker's dozen remains. There is no close fight up at the head of the field, except for these top two. Daniel Mosteller going to go way wide there, but Walker alike, he had to compromise his entry. Both drivers may be imperfect right now, but they're feeling the pressure. Separated by 3 points of the championship, Daniel Mosteller has the advantage. If he wins tonight, he could start to run away with the title. Next week, we have off, so it'll be another week to reset and regroup before we go racing in the month of June. For what it's worth, our next race now going to be moved an extra week back, so that's going to be June 5th, Chicagoland, for the third to last race of the season. 12 laps to go. Watch behind, and it looks like Daniel Kwan coming up with James Thurston. Daniel and Kwan, shall we say. Daniel Salo is going to be ahead of the number 96. And right now, Thurston is just there as well. Thurston up to 7th. His eyes are peeled on getting to 6th at least. Salo's had a great day. Career high qualifying position. And for a rookie driver, you really can't ask for anything more besides what this car has given it and that driver. He's done the best he can, and he's just outside the top 5 looking to fight with Hudson Sangster. Got some tire marks in that 913, but it looks like even though it's weathered, it's still driving well. Sangster going to watch out of the carousel. Daniel Salo is faster. Hudson Sangster not so much. Into turn 7, Salo looks low. Does not have the ground to make a pass. So instead, Daniel goes high, maybe looking for a switchback maneuver out of 8, and he's going to get it. Hudson Sangster goes up top. James Thurston follows. Daniel Salo puts down the pressure. At the line. This is for P5. Hudson Sangster's got it. Moreover, Thurston's looking for 6th. Almost squeezed into the middle of the battle through the front straightaway. But either way, Hudson Sangster passed by Thurston, sending Hudson back to 7th. And the field really putting a fight to that 42 car, so much so that the rookie in Ryan Kwan is behind him. Sangster should be able to hang on for now in the immediate sense. But now coming to 10 laps to go with Aiden Walker ahead of Daniel Mosteller. Time has sat still up in front. Walker, by all means, just has to hold his line and hit his marks. That's about the best thing you can do in this position. A lapper going to be ahead in Dominic Barbagallo. He is 14th right now, so when Dom has put 1 lap down, only 13 will remain on the lead lap from the 26 that registered and the 20 that started. Barbagallo going to watch, wait to find his way out. Nevertheless, Daniel Salo right now going to go sliding into turn 1. Watch this. Salo looked to be up there and alone. And we're replaying this lap because it looks like the 913 goes around. Pressured by James Thurston. And you can see right there, he was absolutely there on him. Daniel's going to buckle under the weight and make his first mistake of the race. Going to drop into 8th place, by the way. See there, hits the grass, tries to put the power back down. Has a very weak exit. Thurston decides to put the bumper to him there. Once, twice, contact up the track. And Salo's right out of it. And just one rookie error gives way as Daniel Salo gets back on it. He's still going to have himself a real hard time gaining. He's an 8th, but now 2 spots down on where he qualified. The lapper of Chase Schaefer got by him with 9 to go. Coming next to now just 8. All eyes remain on this top 2. Daniel Mosteller is losing time, however, and also losing ground by virtue of that. It looks like last time by, he ran a 1:14.091, a solid lap by all means, but Aiden Walker got himself a 1:14.081. The differences are as slim as they get, but Walker consistently on this run has been faster. That's why he still has the race lead. Aiden Walker looking for his third win on the season. Looking a bit behind, Ryan Kwan and Hudson Sangster no longer going at it. It looks like Kwan has gotten by. Hudson now is in 7th. Kwan for P6. So that means Ryan has gained 2 positions on where he qualified. Not bad at all for a driver who is in his very first race in the IORA Cup Series. And proving his worth well ahead of guys like Henry Kaloff, Chase Schaefer, Carlos Struther, all of which winning guys. Way wide for Hudson Sangster there. Maybe pushing a little bit harder and trying to compensate, but it doesn't work quite well there. 7 to go. Daniel Osteller still within a half second. Not unreasonable to say he still has a fair shot. I believe now it really just comes down to the fact that he's dealing with dirtier air than he had before. And coming out of pit road ahead was the winning move. Across the line once more, Demos remains the follower. Aiden Walker is the race leader. Hudson Sangster falling to Daniel Salo there. Sangster now going to be in P8. Salo gets by. Final driver in the top 10 is Aladam Contreras. 39 seconds back on leader Walker. And it just goes to show the spread of the field today. One caution and a long run of green flag racing ever since has made the difference. And as always at Watkins Glen, we really don't have a lot of time spent under caution. Just getting the race going, and although we had some earlier incidents involving Contreras, Michael Deitch, ever since then, we have been smooth sailing. Walker's due to come across the line and make it only 5 laps to go in what has been a dominant second half of this race. And if he wins, then it will be Walker again at the top of the board. He is 3 points down on the current championship lead. But a win today will put him right back up. And it'll be effectively neck and neck, even still, because Daniel Mosteller is right there in second. So going to Chicagoland to finish off the season, well, that's when we're really going to figure out who's got it and who doesn't. Because right now, they're practically identical and have been most of the season, but your regular season champ is showing that sign again. He's got the upper hand. Walker and Mosteller have gone blow for blow so far in the playoffs as they pass 2 drivers, Braxton Whitaker and Lucas Lewis, to make it only 11 on the lead lap. Demos gets by and loses about a 10th in that process. But for the past 2 years, these have been your best 2 drivers. Past 2 seasons to be more specific. Of course, both of them having 1 regular season title apiece. Of course, Daniel Mosteller having that recent championship in season 6. Walker's end goal is to find himself a first-time champion. Mosteller is looking for a coveted 4th title, which might mean that much more now that it could be his second chance at 2 straight. River Page has gotten himself up to 3rd. He took that alternate call to go down a pit road early in the race. That looked to be the winning decision. Moreover, James Thurston is now going to find himself 5th and looking for 4th on Lars Kennewith. Might not be a podium placement, but for Thurston, man alive, he came back from so far back, from 20th and a lap down. Oh, up to the wall. Thurston bounces off it flush. That's about as lucky as a driver can get when they slam smack into it. Lars Kennewith, the next target. And you can see right here, Thurston is giving him every reason to look behind. Four laps to go for the field. It's coming to 3 as leader Aiden Walker has just come across the stripe. But Thurston is fighting this battle and he's looking at it like it's for the win. And for this Murphy Esports car to come back from all the way to the back end of the field, the very back end of the field no less, 20th place, and get up here and now is remarkable. Again, only one yellow flag. That was the only way he was ever going to get himself back on the lead lap, by the way. He got it. And now it appears there is a chance. 3 laps to go. Daniel Mosteller and now Aiden Walker still far ahead of the field, but as you can see, it's a second and a half, and Mosteller was not able to give it any more than one attempt, which we saw some 15 laps ago, to get the race lead back. By all accounts, it is all Aiden Walker. Demos is a blip on the radar. Lars Kennewith now going to be behind James Thurston, and that means that Thurston takes 4th. The 96 is going to come across the line. Only one spot under where he qualified after an arduous 39 laps. Ryan Kwan battling another rookie in Daniel Salo, both having remarkable races for their caliber. Two laps to go. White flag right up next for leader Aiden Walker. And he's moments away from pulling through. Winning the end of the regular season was a big momentum booster for Walker. And that's again the trading places between Mosteller and Walker that has been so remarkably consistent. Walker wins one, Daniel Mosteller shows out the night after. Mosteller wins one, Walker is now looking to prove that he can go back and forth. So far, Demos, of course, having 2 victories on the season, as does Walker. But it looks like to strike for 3, the 93 car will be first. This championship race is far from over, but so far it appears that Aiden Walker is not yet ready to back down. And even though he was far out of it for the first half of this race, it instead appears he's got the upper hand. Coming through the bus stop. Into the carousel. A tale of 2 races. Walker knew pit road would mean everything, and he executed to perfection. 3 points back when he entered. Aiden Walker will reassume the top spot in the IORA Cup Series Championship. Under the Go Bowling Bridge and past the front straightaway grandstands, the fans on their feet as they roar for the number 93, Aiden Walker. 3rd victory on the campaign, by far his most ever successful. He adds another checkered flag to an illustrious Season 7 run. Walker wins from Watkins Glen. It is Daniel Mosteller 2nd and River Page 3rd at the end of 40 racing laps. One big difference maker was that pit stop strategy, and whoever had the edge out would be the winner. That is exactly how it went. Very little else to it besides mastering that consistency. Second run was all Aiden Walker. He's due to burn it down this time by one real fast cool-down lap. And now to celebrate. Walker wins and stands alone as the most successful driver this season. When you look at the checkered flag, Sangster and Salo battle each other to the line once again, but Aiden Walker stands alone on top. 15 laps led as he wins today from Watkins Glen. Only he and Daniel Mosteller were able to go for more than 2 laps led apiece. Walker leading 15 for the win. Mosteller 22 for second. River Page rounds out the podium with James Thurston recovering for 4th place. Lars Kenowitz 5th. Ryan Kwan in 6th and Daniel Salo P7. Henry Kaloff goes 8th with Hudson Sangster 9th and Aladam Contreras 10th. Damian Vega, Braxton Whitaker, Lucas Lewis, Devins Baker, Wayne Kennedy, Dominic Barbagallo, and Michael Deitch 11th down to 17th. Then you have the retirees in Chase Schaefer, Talon Smith, and Corey Lyles. Those are the drivers who started. Then Jason Dodonna, John Dunnigan, Carlos Truther, Beaver Serrano, Richard Bunkley, and Andres Varaskar. 26th and last of which to register, but not finish. Aiden Walker back as the lone winningest driver in Season 7. Been a very, very contentious season so far between Walker and Mosteller. It doesn't come down to malice, it just comes down to success, and both drivers have been pushing each other's limits.
Sorry about the background.
Aiden Walker, you push yourself again today, and you find victory. 3rd of the season, Watkins Glen in the playoffs. I'm sure this might be the biggest already.
Yeah, this was definitely a pretty big win. I tried trying to see if I could get Demos away from pit road, then when we got into pit road, again, sorry about the background, the dogs are just barking for no reason. Once we got down to pit road, it was just mainly about, not speeding and getting a good drive off the exit of pit road so I can try either game side or ahead, which I did get ahead at the exit of pit road, which I think was probably the thing that won me the race, but I think overall I had a lot more long run pace over him, especially later, like once we got at that very end of the run, which I think when he had the battle with Talon and all of them, that probably hurt his pace a little bit because I could tell he was kind of trying to focus with Talon to try going as fast as possible because Talon was pushing a good amount and he also just has insane pace. So I was just kind of like, okay, I just need to get by people very safe and things. Don't like make any big mistakes or anything. So once I got by Lars, it was just more just trying to hang on to a point where if anything happened, I'll be able to catch back up, which um, then you had Talon slide the corner, and that got me close enough to where as long as I'm good with my tires, I'm not gonna have to worry about like falling back or any of that. So once that all happened, I felt like I had a pretty good chance to win. Then of course pit stops happen, we get ahead of Demos, and then we just pretty much just had to get through lap traffic and hold on.
The difference maker, as you recall, was that pit stop strategy. You came in behind Mosteller, not far behind anyway, but you left ahead and got that clean air. How important was it for you to use the clean air for victory tonight?
I think if it was close between me and him, I know he has very good short run pace. That's where I would probably lose to him. That's why it was probably the best thing for me to get ahead, because then, of course, he has that little bit of dirty air, which kind of hurts you a little bit. But right around when we had those pit stops, probably the main reason I started catching up to him was when we had those pit stops in the right around the final corner. I don't know if this showed up on the broadcast, but there was a bunch of gravel like just into the final corner. So it like took a few moments for me to get used to it, but I could tell I was being able to get more drive off the corner and overall catch demos at the end there, which well not really catch, but well yeah, at the end of that run. Can't think. But yeah, once I started figuring that out, that's when I really started catching up to him. And then I was pretty much right on his rear end. I was past him heading into the lap we were gonna pit and things, and then couldn't complete the move, so I tried making like a fake dive bomb into the pit entries just to see if I could maybe get him a little off his line and get a little pressure and things, which I think kind of worked. It probably didn't do as much as what I would have wanted to, but it definitely helped a little bit in things. So overall, really good race and things. We now I think should have the championship lead back. I forget how the points work in this, but especially after last week was just kind of falling back to him a lot with not last week, 2 weeks ago. Especially after all that, where it just couldn't manage tires properly. I think we kind of swapped everything out and seemed like this week I was a little bit better on the tires than him.
Both you and Daniel Mosteller have traded the championship lead multiple times over the past couple of races. That may continue, but we're taking the week off again and bringing it back to Chicagoland to start the month of June, and the final countdown begins. Aiden, I'll tell you this much, it is neck and neck. What do you think it's going to take to put yourself the step above to really close out the championship deal?
Really, just stay out of trouble. Don't try getting into any incidents because what I've noticed about like the last few seasons and things is like you'll see that one person that always gets in an incident or something. I'm not really trying to call out names, but example, like you have River Page at Homestead, who he made a mistake by clearing himself with Chase and things. Not like it was not, it's never intentional and things, but of course that put him to a point where he had an L2 penalty where I think the first week he had a drive through or something like that, and this week he had an EOL, and that killed his race and chance of him like staying close with us through the championship. So if it's mainly just about not making those mistakes and things, trying to keep yourself in clean spots because that's what I've been trying to do all season. Of course, we had that little bit of a run where at Michigan and Talladega had that bad run where we kept getting and stuff. But once we got to being pretty clean with everything and not getting involved in incidents, it seems like it was really just easy for me to pull away from everyone and get the regular season championship. And now we're in a good position now where we had a good first two races with a win and a second place. I think overall, as long as we can keep this up, I think we were looking to win this championship.
Up next, of course, eyes set on a title victory. Walker with a big win once again and coming through with the checkered flag at Watkins Glen. Anything else you'd like to add? Any sponsors or shout outs you'd like to give?
Well, I'd like to thank my sponsors, Hyperco Coils, Blue Line Tennessee, Cognal Motor Company, Lively's Custom Diecasts, Jones Racing Setups. I know this is an open series, obviously, but really good setup shop for trucks and things. And of course, subscribe to the FTN Broadcasting channel. It has just a bunch of iRacing broadcasts that you can just find anywhere, like IORA. And I'll just let you list off the other leagues.
Well, yeah, we got the Highline Racing League coming up at 9:30. Monday nights is the Integrity Racing League, and so is Tuesday. And then we got Schumacher Racing League on Sunday. Aiden, you're going to be there too, right?
I don't know. I don't even think I'm signed up for the league, and I mean, I already have some stuff probably planned for that day. I'm just trying to get a little bit of break in things. So
Well, with that said, full speed ahead on the Thursday night campaign for you. Another win and a big one with the playoff momentum in mind. Aiden Walker, checkered flag in Watkins Glen, thank you for your time.
thank you.
Aiden gets victory, and as we mentioned, it is identical almost between he and Daniel Mosteller. They've both gone for a first place and a second place finish in the playoffs already. Tonight, Mosteller, you find yourself with P2 as you won last race.
Yeah, man.
Now, 22 laps led on the day. First and foremost, you were battling with Talon Smith until he backed out. What was it like out there getting yourself settled into that high pace and leading the opening portion dominantly?
Yeah, it was good. I felt like I was able to get into a rhythm, but ultimately that kind of, battling with him and kind of trying to keep up with him, that ultimately pushed me into making a few mistakes, sliding the tires a little bit, and ultimately he left, which kind of sucks, I guess, that he did all that. He maybe burned up the stuff and left, but after that, Walker closed in on me, and up until the pit stops, I was doing fine. We came in a couple tenths apart, and then I guess screwed with the RNG in the pits. I got held longer, had a longer stop. Don't really know how that happens. We're both taking 4 tires and filling it up, but I came out behind him, and the dirty air was just so bad. I just pushed too much trying to get back by him because I knew it was going to be hard. And nail in the coffin was the lappers they pulled out of the way for him, and then went double file in front of me, and I just brought it home because I was frustrated. But I guess when you're mad with second, that's a good thing, I guess, considering how my regular season went. Um, but 5 back to back to back to back top fives is nothing to be too upset about, I guess, or top twos.
Now, pit road was the difference maker today. You ended up coming out behind Aiden Walker, but it was also the first time you had to deal with that dirty air in the second portion of the race. Was there any condition changes behind Walker compared to Talon Smith, or was it about the same deal?
I don't know. I don't think Talon was ever in front of me at all, so I don't think I had a chance to judge how the dirty air was. And I know Walker started a little deeper in the field and had to pass a few people. So maybe he just knew how to deal with it and knew what he had to do from so that when he got in front of me, he was able to kind of dictate the air and dictate the pace. And he did a good job at it. It's just frustrating to lose out on RNG in a tight championship race, with us finishing 1 and 2 to start the regular or the postseason. It's frustrating to have it slip away through fractions of a second, but it is what it is. We'll go on to Chicagoland in a few weeks and try to beat him on the track again.
With Chicagoland up next, we are just about at the end of our season. June give you the next portion, of course, the final 3 races in our final month. One more opportunity to really settle in and get ready for the biggest and most important races. First and second so far, your finishes, this playoffs, what can be done to maybe improve?
I think just continuing to execute. I feel like the last 5 weeks I've done a really good job at just being myself and not getting too over my head. Like this week, when I realized I was gonna lose and I was getting frustrated, I just backed it off and finished. That's what you're gonna need to do to be successful here, and I think it's gonna be a really fun final 3 races to see who would come out on top. I don't think anyone behind us is gonna catch up, so it's gonna be a lot of fun racing him. We don't think we've ever had a title come down between us two, so I'm excited to see how it plays out. Just frustrated with how tonight went.
It's toe-to-toe now, coming to our final 3 races. Daniel Mosteller, another podium finish, second on the day. If you have anything else you'd like to add, the floor is yours.
Hey, thank you for broadcasting as always, Mason, for off track, and everyone for racing. Congrats to Walker again. See y'all in 2 weeks' time.
Daniel Mosteller, second on the day from New York. Thank you again for stopping by.
Thank you.
One more driver to hear from who needed a good race, and it looks like today he got it, is River Page. The 24 team is right now not in the broadcast booth. We're going to make sure we can get him in. Page, P3, and he needed it desperately after that Darlington race where he found himself at the end of the field and far out of the championship fight. He should be able to get himself back up to the upper mid-pack in the points race with a good night like this and a top 3 to boot. River, you needed a great race. I'll tell you this much, top 3 finish is going to help out, but to what extent? Top 5 start, top 3 finish, you gained on the day. How was it out there?
That's just what I really want to do. I know I probably can't win the championship now, but at least try to fight back and get into the top 5, maybe get into the top 3, which is where I've been the last 4 seasons now in a row. So that was exactly what I wanted to do. And just, I didn't really have any incidents, just kind of all by myself. It was really smooth sailing. And just the top 3, there's a few people that didn't make the full race, and there was some disconnections, so I got a break there, but I'll take third. It was a fun race, and I'm just think I'm 6th or 7th now on the points. So you're right. That's really just exactly what I needed to do, is just go in and get a good little result there. And I need to put together a few more good races, and hopefully I can make it into the top 3.
6th or 7th. Nevertheless, River Page, you find yourself with one difference in strategy, and that was, of course, going down a pit road under the caution and making it a little bit different from everyone else around you. The upper mid-pack, a few drivers decided to go with you. How important did you feel that was?
I don't know. I just I didn't really care about what the strategy was. I was just free balling. I thought a couple people maybe want to pit there, and I think it helped me out a little bit, but I don't really think it was all that important. But just we'll try out a few different strategies now that I'm not especially I know I'm not gonna beat Demos at Watkins Glen, so just try something different and see what happens. And I was able to get through the pack a little quicker, I guess, which I was in 3rd before I pit the 2nd time, so maybe it helped with that a little bit.
Now we arrive to the final portion of the season where we go back to those ovals to finish the job. We got 2 intermediates coming. Chicagoland, we got, of course, a little bit further after Las Vegas, but we're first talking about what's immediately ahead of us here. Back to the 1.5 milers where you're especially strong at. What's it going to take now to just keep things moving and maybe go for a few spots higher?
Well, I'd love to win one more race before it's all said and done. I know I've got the speed to do it at those tracks for sure. You're right. I just have to be clean. I feel like whenever I don't have a good race, just because I'm putting myself in bad scenarios and getting wrecked. So just be cool and stay out of trouble. I'll put together a few more good races. So in the top 3, maybe I can sneak a win in at Las Vegas. I don't know. Chicagoland's probably my least favorite of the 1.5 milers. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I just need to do the same thing I did today. Just put together a smooth run, and like I'm saying, just hopefully find myself into the top 3 when it's all said and done.
Climbing the ranks with a great race for that points momentum. River Page, 3rd on the day. Anything else you'd like to add for us here?
Yeah, just thanks to Haggard Electrical and everyone else on my car, Mason Moriarty, and the fantastic IORA admin team, and you for the broadcast as normal.
River Page, checkered flag, finishing up the podium today and coming through ahead of Power Smash Infinity Speed teammate there in James Thurston. Thank you for your time.
Thanks a lot.
With River on the move, you've heard from 3rd, 1st, and 2nd, and we went, of course, with our winner first. It was River Page who came home for P3, Daniel Mostiller for 2nd, and Aiden Walker with his 3rd victory of the season. What a season it's been so far for those top 2 drivers. And the battle will continue in 2 weeks' time. We'll take next week off, May 27th, and we'll bring you back in a little while from here. That, of course, is going to be the final 3-race stretch, beginning with Chicagoland, June 5th. So keep your calendars marked and your eyes peeled. Until then, the Highline Racing League begins tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern from the Texas Motor Speedway, and they'll get things going very soon. We'll be back with more coverage live on FTN Broadcasting. You've watched from the virtual Watkins Glen International tonight, the 12th race of the IORA Cup Series season, and I've been your host, David Kreutz, commentating and producing. If you, of course, enjoyed, make sure to leave a like on the stream and subscribe to the channel. Your support is always greatly appreciated. We'll get back to work in a half hour's time, but until then, we'll leave you with our next day of racing, Sunday, with the Schumacher Racing League. Thank you for tuning in. Congratulations to Aiden Walker on win 3 of the season. We hope you have a fantastic night.